Does this feel like the Gastelum fight? Does it feel like the Silva fight? Or does this feel, I don't know, like, is it supposed to be a routine or is this one supposed to be different?
I think this one's a lot different. This one's a lot different because of what's riding on it. Each fight's unique, but also just the fact that it's at Marvel Stadium. It's just the story of the fight itself. You know, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, the Kiwi, the All Black versus, you know, the Australian. The fight story itself is just, it's completely different to any other fight I've had. But it will be the biggest fight I've had yet.
How do you manage the weight of all of this, Israel? It seems like such a meteoric rise, such a huge responsibility, such a grand stage. I mean, I suppose if you're built for it, then there is no weight. But I'm wondering how you manage it all.
People have been asking me this the last 2 weeks. Like, I think even on ESPN, my guy Jeff, and then they've been asking me the last 2 weeks. For me, I say something like pressure. Pressure is an acquired taste. It's a very acquired taste, and I've been eating that, you know, deliciously for so long, even before the UFC. Rob hasn't been. I'm sure everyone deals with pressure in different facets of life, but he hasn't tasted what I've tasted in the last 20 months, you know? So that's why he's competing in local wrestling tournaments to try and taste a little bit of that. Like I said, it's acquired, and it's acquired taste like caviar or like, I don't know, whatever else, but yeah, he's not used to it. So for me, how do I stay calm in all this? I'm player one, man. I'm just doing me at the end of the day, and I know me. You know, I know me, and I'm doing all the work. So that's what keeps me calm. That's what keeps me confident because I've done all the work. I visualize me walking to that cage whenever I hear my track play because I code it into my system. I use it to trigger me. So when I hear it play, and I focus on walking to that cage, I feel that sense of release, that sense of freedom, like kind of like I felt in New York when I was walking out. I just felt this release of just like freestyle. It's time to play. So I'm looking to emulate that again when I get to UFC 243.
Daniel Cormier has basically decided that he wants one more fight. Daniel Cormier wants one more go at it, one more turn of the screw. And he wants that one more fight in a trilogy bout with Stipe Miocic. And in that trilogy bout, that will be his very last contest. That's what he wants. Now, I don't know what Stipe wants. I'm guessing he'll probably accommodate that. I don't want to, speak for him, but that's my estimation of things. I have to tell you, I love this. It's like the Jones rivalry to me was not nearly as intriguing because it wasn't nearly as close. I mean, those fights, the first fight was a lot closer than folks remembered, but John was your rightful winner. And the second fight, I mean, look, you can say what you want about his issues with anti-doping authorities, but in terms of what happened in that cage, it wasn't particularly close. It's not that I wouldn't have an interest in the third fight or that I don't believe in the ability of Cormier to beat John, but I don't think it's as good as his ability to beat Stipe. In part because we've seen him do it, and in part, even in the second fight when he lost, he won the first 3 rounds in my book. Now, not universally, but I think you could easily score the first 3, certainly the first 2. Long story short, he was doing quite well. And while he was fighting in a suboptimal way, that suboptimal approach was still good enough to get very far. But I don't know. To me, I'll be honest. I'll just tell you how I feel about it. I feel very curious about a third time. I would really like to see it, and I'm glad that they're going to do it. And frankly, I have to kind of tell you, it is so interesting to me, all the various elements here. Cormier wins, man, it turns his resume into something. Cormier loses, turns his resume on its head. I've never seen somebody get to the end of their career and their last bout is so consequential. Like, you never see stuff like that. By the time they're in their last bout, they're just treading water, if that. Like, you know who has super consequential bouts at the very end of their career? The all-time best, right? Like a St. Pierre, the really super excellent ones. If your last bout is that important, that's very hard to do. Usually your importance doesn't last as long as your professional existence. Usually one gives out before the other. Not for Cormier. It's pretty remarkable. Now, initially, I saw the video that you had the bandage over your left eye. You had wanted, at the time, to run it back with Yair. It sounds like, at this point, whatever you can get to just stay active, or am I misinterpreting you?
Yair is the guy that I want. This is the guy we're supposed to fight, but Yair is a little bitch, to be honest. He's a little crybaby, you know. He likes to whine, and I hear him talking about in interviews, and I had an altercation with him at the hotel yesterday. So to me, it just sounds like I don't think he really wants it. And he's kind of looking for a way out because, this kid's a karate kid. I grew up in the streets. I'm actually looking to fight. He knows he's going to be in a tough fight with me. That's the fight definitely I want. But from the sounds of it, who knows where he's at. But that's regardless. That's out the box. I'm not going to sit around and complain and be attached to that certain outcome. This is the fight business. There's multiple people out there. There's a Brian Ortega. He's sliding around the corner. He's been ducking me. So there's the Korean Zombie. Whoever wants it, bro. Anybody can get it. This is the fight business. I imagine I won't have a hard time getting a fight.
What happened at the hotel?
He came up to me. He's like in the back. He's like, I can see him across the thing. I was checking my bags, and he's putting like a thumbs up, like asking if I was all right. I thought he was going to come over as a gentleman, and he shakes my hand, and then he immediately starts kind of talking shit. And to me, where I come from, you're not going to do that to me. So I fucking shoved his ass. And I know his little sister was recording a video. I haven't seen that pop up yet. So I'm wondering if they caught all that video on, because as soon as I actually was able to touch him, he didn't take a step forward, and his family and his coaches, they all stayed back, and they wanted nothing to do with it. I'm a different breed, bro. You're not going to come up. I thought you were trying to be cordial and let's just run it back. But that wasn't the situation. Guy doesn't have any class, so I had to shove him and let him know, like, bro, I'll still fucking put it on you. I came here to compete. I came here to win. And we can do that anywhere and any time. If you act like you really want it, run it back. Boston's coming up, 3.5 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever. And I told him, hey, bro, you're the one who poked me in the eye. I don't fight like a girl. I close fist the whole fucking time. So, I'm here to put knuckles on your head, not fingers in your eye.